Hey guys, Dr. Ray, Chiropractic Plus, and today we're going to talk about cancer. Now, as it relates to cancer, I really truly want to help you understand how we're going to fight this cancer bugger through these 5 essentials in our office. The best way to fight cancer is to never get cancer. So we're going to turn your body into a cancer-killing machine. So step-by-step instructions. Number 1, we've got to make sure that we're mitigating stress, okay? Now, there's no such thing as eliminating stress. There was years ago, back in the 70s, stress reduction strategies. Guys, that's impossible. The only way to get rid of stress is to die, and I'm not planning on doing that. So we have to do our best to manage and control our stress through meditation practices and the like. Because what happens when we get under stress, cortisol skyrockets. Now, when cortisol goes up, that means you're being chased by a bear. The problem is the bear never goes away in our current dilemma. So stress goes up, sugar goes up, and all of a sudden your body becomes a cancer feeding machine. You see, cancer cells live in a realm which mitochondrion can only burn sugar as fuel. So in order to change your body dynamics, metabolic biodiversity, we have to make sure we are a fat burning machine, not a sugar burning machine, by lowering our stress. So number 1, reducing stress by meditation and focusing and setting goals, work on gratitude. Number 1. Number 2, chiropractic. Now, something unique about cancer cells, they are granted immortality. They do not have a connection. Every cell in the body has a lifespan that's directed by the nervous system. So your heart has a lifespan. There's heart nerves, there's heart cells in there. The brain makes a phone call down to the heart and says, "How my boys doing down there?" And the heart general foreman says, "We need to send 3 of our guys out of service." So he takes them out of service, send them to the spleen. Now the spleen is like Bahamas. They have little metabolic drinks and they have exercise classes, and these 3 cells become rejuvenated and they're pulled back into service. It's called apoptosis, okay? And autophagy is another strategy for doing that, okay? So cancer cells, however, do not have this connection. So the brain calls down and says, we got a challenge here in the lungs, and you got maybe a lung cancer growing. So what happens? The brain says, I got a strategy. So it calls the immune system and signals it to kill the cancer cells. So we have to make sure that the brain and body connection is clear, both the upstream and the downstream cables, the afferent and the efferent. So how does that work? Watch me. The lungs make a phone call to the brain. I got guys down here, man, they're going crazy. They're growing. They won't listen to me. He said, I know those are cancer cells. I'm going to take care of those. Hangs up the phone. The brain picks up the phone, dials the immune system, says, dude, I need you to jump in the bloodstream, go up there, and I want you to throw bombs and hand grenades and shoot them and kill them and get rid of those cancer cells. And they jump in the bloodstream and they kill the cancer. Now, if you get a subluxation in your spine, misalignment, that blocks either the upstream phone call or the downstream phone call, the cancer cells will grow unabated. So second step, essential number 2, get your spine corrected. Fully corrected through spinal correction techniques only found in a corrective chiropractic office like ours. Number 3, we kind of hinted to it. The cancer cells have damaged energy machines called mitochondria. They can only burn sugar as fuel. So how can we stop this? Use fat as a fuel source. And we talked about that many times. Fat should be your primary energy source. So if you're using fat as a fuel, the cancer cells say, I can't survive, and they simply starve to death. So by eating high-fat, ketogenic eating, you can make that happen. Okay? Essential number 4, oxygen. The body cancer cells cannot survive in a high oxygen environment. Why? Well, let's think about this. As we think about the primary energy machine called the Krebs cycle, within that mitochondrion, what happens? Fat gets consumed as fuel, and all of a sudden oxygen present, and you burn up, get 36 gallons of gasoline, cancer cells can't survive. Now, if you go through the process of fermentation of sugar, that's where sugar gets converted into pyruvate and then lactic acid. You do get some energy, and that's how cancer cells live. So in the presence of B vitamins in the presence of lipoic acid, magnesium, CoQ10, and high oxygen, guess what? Your body can't, the cancer cells can't survive. So ketogenic eating in the presence of those nutrients, huge for making sure you don't become a cancer creating machine. Essential number 4, and we kind of hinted to it on number 3, that's oxygen. Okay, now oxygen comes through fitness. Okay, you got to do it, but the right kind. High intensity interval training cranks up the oxygen way better than treadmill work. And again, as that happens, the high levels of oxygen goes through this process in the Krebs cycle and burns the fuels, and cancer cells starve to death because of it. Now, something important on oxygen. Okay, vitamin B12, which is the guy that creates the hemoglobin Uber in the presence of iron, makes hemoglobin. If you have low levels of iron and B12, you can't generate the hemoglobin, and oxygen levels plummet. It's called anemia. So critically important, B12 and also your iron, all right? Especially you ladies. Lastly, we got to deal with toxins. Cancer loves toxic environments. Heavy levels of toxins acidifies the blood. Cancer cannot survive in a pH blood of 7.2. So how do you crank that bugger up? Detoxification, do the daily detox processes, and also high levels of vegetables. Vegetables neutralize the blood and keep it at a more 7.2 balance. So guys, you take those action steps, you know what? You become a cancer killing machine. So take those steps, learn about this, apply, create a healthy body, and cancer, don't even worry about it. Take care. Have a great day.